Okay, welcome to this video. The purpose of this video is to go over using Desmos, how to find one variable stats, and specifically find mean, median, standard deviation, population standard deviation, and find this 5-number summary and be able to use this box plot to talk about shape if needed. And the reason I'm making this video is if you're in AP Statistics or if you're doing some test that requires use of the College Board or the SAT testing of Desmos, you'll notice there's a different output for the same command. Okay, so I'm going to go over both. So very generally, if you're just using Desmos, the non-testing version, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to put a data set in. We can label it whatever. I'm going to call it L for list. We can adjust this data. And then when we call the command stats, we can just put a parentheses and reference the letter of the data set. Or if we wanted to, we could copy and paste this whole data set into there. But I sort of like this setup better because we can just make adjustments to this data set and everything here will update. All right. If you notice, we do the same thing. We have a data set L. We run stats, and it just gives us the 5-number summary, no box plot, and also no mean, no median, no standard deviation. Okay, so I'll go over how you can do that if you're using the College Board version of Desmos, which you would be using if you're taking the AP Stats class. Okay, first of all, the data set I'm going to use is my Washington Commanders. We're just going to do the points that they scored in their first 15 games last year. Okay, so you might want to just forward this. I'm going to put this data in. It's going to take me a little while, but yeah, that'll be the first step. Is I'm just going to use these numbers here. Okay, so if you want to fast forward to when I'm done, feel free. If you want to just watch and laugh, you can do that too. All right, so we've got 21, 18, 41, 21, 18, 41, and then we've got 27, 27, 24, 27, 27, 24, 22, 7, 14, 22, 22, 7, 14, 22, and then we've got 13, 26, 0, 13, 26, 0, and the last two are 29 and 18. 29 and 18. Okay, so the whole data set's in. What I like about this too is you can see the number of elements, right? It'll say it here, and it'll give you your count here. And then we've got, okay, the mean, the median, the standard deviation. Now what you'll notice here, and I like this, is this first standard deviation, it's not saying population, so this is the sample standard deviation. And if you're not sure what that is, it's the same calculation in the numerator. Basically, we're going to find the mean. We're going to take every individual one of these values. We're going to subtract the mean. We're going to take that difference and square it. We're going to add those all up, and then we're going to divide by, in this case, 14, right? Because our number of elements, our number of data values is 15. In the sample standard deviation, we divide by, in this case, 15 minus 1, which is 14. So we get a slightly smaller value. Sorry, a slightly larger value. Okay, smaller value in the denominator, larger total value. So this is more conservative because in theory it's a sample, it's not the whole population. The population standard deviation is displayed here. That's this. Okay, so that's nice. Now it also gives an option to check or click this arrow and we get a box plot. Okay, so we have the 5-number summary displayed here, and then we have all those data values. right? So it's really, really, really nice. And this we can use as a way to talk about the shape of the distribution, right? Doesn't look like there are any outliers. This looks roughly symmetric because my distance from the median to the low value is 22. My distance from the center to, the median to the highest value is, what is that, 19. So, maybe it's slightly skewed to the left because we have a little bit more range here. But anyway, we can use this box plot to talk about summary stats and shape of the distribution, shape and different measures of what the distribution is showing, its spread, etc. Okay, so again, the big thing that I want you guys to realize is, this is the normal Desmos version, so it gives more. Okay. If we're using a testing version, so I've got old data, all I'm going to do is hopefully just copy, Control C, and paste this data in. Okay, again, this is the version of Desmos that you'll have when you're taking the AP exam, AP Stats exam, and we just have the stats here. So we don't have the box plot. We can use the stats by themselves, or one thing that we could do is just type in box plot, and then we can put the name of the set, and we actually get a nice box plot here. And the cool thing is we have this checkbox to exclude outliers if we want. So if we check that off, it's going to show if there are outliers. Just to give you an example, if I change this to -21, right, then this is showing as an outlier, and we can see that the normal minimum not including that value would be right here at 0, I guess. Okay, so that's a nice feature. You notice that the minimum shows up here also if I change that one value, and you could do your normal calculation for outliers, but it is nice when you have the box plot and we have it set up when exclude outliers is on there, right? It's going to show them as a separate element. Okay, so if I change that back to what it was, which I think was just 21, either way, if this is checked or not, I'm not seeing any individual outliers, so that means that this data set has none. All right, but like I said before, the problem is we don't know the mean, we don't know the median, we don't know the standard deviation, okay? So what we can do is just type in mean. That will match. We get 20.6, which matches this. Median we do have, right? That's given here. That's the same thing. But normally when we're talking about mean, we're going to use standard deviation as our measure of spread, okay? So you can leave the mean, or you can just type in STDEV, right? Here's the standard deviation. Now what you guys are going to probably see is this is 9.77. It's not clear. That's actually the sample standard deviation, okay? And what I'm going to show you here is when we're doing stats commands, right? We can see here that standard deviation variance, which is just standard deviation squared, and covariance, which doesn't really apply to the course, they will report the sample. Now, if you put standard dev or var for variance or co for covariance, this is going to reference the sample data. It's going to treat your, it's going to treat your data as a sample. If you use, or if you want to do population, all you do is you put a p at the end of those commands. So you do standard dev p, var p, okay? And these will give you the population value. So if I come back to the College Board version, and all I do is I just put a p in there, right? All of a sudden I've got my 9.443. That matches the population standard deviation, okay? So you just have to remember to put a p in there. And then really, guys, if we want, right, we can, oh, shoot, I thought I could copy that. Let me do Control C, Control V. If we have the standard deviation and we square it, this should be the population variance, right? 89.17. Well, you know what? We don't have that here, but that will be right because here's the population standard deviation. Okay? And if you really want to, I believe you can call var p, so that's the variance p of L, and you'll see that it actually matches. Okay, so the key things here, if you're using the AP stats version, is when you do this stats command, right, you're only going to get the 5-number summary. You got to remember the command box plot. That will let you plot these if you want, and then you can use the commands standard deviation, and really the only other the one that you need is mean, right? So if I just remember, mean, I gotta lowercase it, right? That'll give you your your mean, and then var p or and STDEV, so standard deviation p. There's your population standard deviation. Okay, so hopefully that was helpful. If you are not using the College Board version, then this is even better, because you can just click stats, get the mean, the standard deviation, the population standard deviation, get the 5-number summary, and the box plot all in one. Okay, if you're using the College Board version, you can do your stats command, but then you have to manually make a box plot, and you have to manually type in mean, standard deviation, and include population if you want the population standard deviation or variance. All right, and this, Desmos help section is very good about going through those commands also if you want. All right, hopefully that was helpful, and see you guys on the next video.